everyone, Diana here. These are messages and maybe a prediction or two for October the 22nd to the 28th. I got the date right this week, October 22nd to the 28th. I'm outside again because it is this absolutely breathtakingly glorious day here in rural central Ohio in October. This is very unusual for us, and I'm absolutely loving it. I thought I would share with you a couple of things from outside here that you might hear falling. This, I'm going to show it real close. This is a black walnut, and they look like this when they fall from the trees, and then they start turning dark, and then the whole outside shell will take on this darkness and get even darker. And the little woodland creatures, the squirrels and the chipmunks, etc., they love these. So we don't pick them, we just kind of leave them there for the little woodland creatures to have. And this is another little critter you might hear falling. I believe this is an acorn coming off of an oak, and I'm not sure if it's a red oak or a white oak. I'm not sure that matters. And those of you who are more familiar with botany than I, if that's not an acorn, let me know. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not a botanist by any means. All right, this week I want to talk to you about words. As a writer, I am extremely cautious, or conscious is the better word. I'm very conscious about how every word works and the connotation behind the word as well as the denotation. As someone who's psychic, I'm aware of that vibration, that energy of every word. And I say this because words are being flung about, and they're being flung about from people in power who don't seem to have a concept of the importance of word. And that's only going to stop when we start listening to words. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of stories here, short stories. Earlier this week, someone said to me that she fell, and then she made a comment about it was just stupid. I'm just so stupid. And I stopped her and I said, no, stop calling my friend stupid. And she thought for a moment, and then she started laughing. She got it. That's a word, though, I don't know that we want to apply to ourselves or anyone else, especially when if we say I'm being stupid as opposed to I'm stupid. There's a whole different dynamic going on there. We're not calling ourselves stupid, we're saying the act that we committed was probably not the smartest thing we've ever done. Another story I want to tell you is one of my best friends is from New York, and we get into these conversations about language because she was a literature major as well. And we were talking about the difference between New York talk and Ohio talk. And she said, in New York, we just tell it like it is. We just put it out there, and this is what it is. And she said when she came to Ohio, she was very shocked and surprised. She said, because in Ohio, we look at people and smile and say, we don't like you. But we do it with a smile on our face, or we tell you you're doing it wrong. Whereas in New York, in the city, they just say, hey, out of my face. So we have different languages across the country, here in the U.S., in different states, in different regions, in different areas within within the same state. And around the world, it's the same thing. Every language, depending upon where you are in that particular community or country, the language changes. The language can be different. So we have to be aware of the cultural differences in our language, as well as being aware of each word and what's behind, the energy behind each word. That is so important. I can't tell you how important that is, and what we say to ourselves as well as to others. How we say it. It's the words and how we use them. In Ohio, I can say to you, I don't like you. And you'll look at me and say, thank you. In New York, if I say, hey, out of my face, I don't like you, you're insulted. So there's a way we say it that's very different as well. We have to pick and choose. We have to think about our words, how they're affecting us, the words that we're using on ourselves, and the words we're using on others. And I say using because we have to think in terms of how is this word and how am I saying it affecting others. Many of my clients come to me, well, they all come because they initially want to make their lives better. Something isn't working, and many times it's the relationship. And so I coach about how men and women think differently. But we all want the same thing in the end. We want to be loved, we want to feel safe, we want to feel we're cherished, we want to feel that somebody cares about us and has our best interest at heart. And if we don't feel that, our relationships are in jeopardy. So how do we get that? Well, for one thing, how do we act in our relationships with others? Let me give you an example. And by the way, you might see Daisy. She's out here with me today. If I say to you, you hurt my feelings, you shouldn't have said that, what happens? Automatically our defenses go up. We want to protect our hearts because we feel we're being attacked. But if I say to you, I find that language offensive, I'm hurt by what you said, there's a whole different dynamic taking place. And you're able to hear me. And then we're able to have a conversation without anger entering into it and making the relationship better by that conversation. So very simply, by changing you statements to I statements, we take responsibility for our life and we don't blame the other, even though we feel the other harmed us in some way with words or deeds. That simple little thought, to think before we speak and to make I statements rather than you statements, will help to change our relationships to more positive, loving relationships. We're not going to be able to expect that from our politicians. You know, we're going through this really rough time in America politically, and it is affecting the whole world. But what is happening is, we've talked about this with that masculine and feminine energy butting heads. That's not going to change. It feels like this week there's a bit of a lull. And I have to laugh because it's like a little bit of a calm before the storm. And the storm is coming. And it's going to be rough. But it feels like a little lull this week. And I say that, and I'm not sure if it's a lull or it's just we are so used, the new normal is, we're getting used to the new normal and we're tired and we're all kind of stepping back and taking a little breather before the next big blow up. And it may be that I'm feeling instead of the lull. I also feel an ever so slight ease of fires and here in the U.S. Worldwide, I want to say in Asia, there are going to be there's like an earthquake. I don't know if it's an earthquake. I don't think it's a major earthquake, but there's like, and I don't think it's a tsunami, but there's rain, there's some flooding, and the earth is shaking. So for my friends in Japan and in Asia, just use your intuition. You've got it. You're strong with it. So use it and keep yourself safe. Let's look and see what Philip has to say. Give me just a minute here to get the book. This is for those of you who come back every week. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are new, this is my spirit guide, Philip. And so we use his book that he gave me, and each page has a different wisdom on it. So we have to think left page, right page when we look at this. And you thinking? All right, let's see where the thumb stops. We're going to see left page, right page. There it is. I'm hearing left page. So, but I might read right page too, but left page is our message. If you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? Imagine that. That's what we've been talking about, isn't it? If you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? My friends, the language that's being thrown about by our political people in office, political leaders, I guess I could call them, but I don't really think of some of them as being leaders. They're blowhards. They're not. When I think of leadership, it is leadership that you believe what you're doing. You're not just doing it for TV ratings, for one. But we won't go further into leaderships at this point. But what I want you to do is really stop and ask yourselves, okay, when I hear that kind of language, what is it saying about the language I'm using? Well, I don't use that kind of language. No, but what is the language you are using? What are those words you want to shift? And when we take a word away, we want to put a new one in place. So instead of the angry words, what if we change them around? What if we change the sadness to laughter? What if we change those words? And eventually it will get to the capitals of all countries, especially mine, because the words of language that are coming out of the U.S. Capitol and coming out of North Korea, these words are dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So we must change the words within us. We must also put our hands up and our votes up and say, stop. Stop. No more. Stop. Life is too important. No more bullying. No more bullying of myself. No more bullying of others. And no more bullying in politics. That, my friends, is how we change the world. So let's remember, if you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? And just to remind you what's on the right side, or just to tell you what's on the right side, that for which you are thankful multiplies. That for which you are thankful multiplies. Daisy and I made a video the other day, and it's called Let's Laugh. I'm going to ask, you can hear Daisy coming over here. She heard her name. And you might, there she is. Go watch that video. It's a minute of laughter. That's all it is. Just Daisy and I laughing. Join us in laughter. Join us in being careful of the words you speak about yourself. Be careful of the words you speak to others. Oh, my friends, let's make this a better world, because together we can hold each other's hands or paws. And as we hold each other's hands or paws, I don't know if I could get back far enough, so let me just see if I can turn the camera down and you can say hi to Daisy. There she is. Whoops. Sorry. There's Daisy. Well, here's Daisy. Thank you, my friends. We're so glad you came to visit us this week. Have a great one. And remember, use the words that add laughter and love and joy to our world. Thank you. Bye for now. We love you. We love you. We love you.